Welcome to Time to Game Podcast. This is episode 1. Today is July 24th, and I'm here with CJ and old Chris, and I'm Johnny B.
You're going to be able to keep that voice the entire time?
Maybe. I'll change it.
You sound a lot like a radio show.
It is a radio show.
Alright, with that said, I consider that we're started, so let's go on the list of topics that we're going to talk about today.
The hot topics.
Go ahead.
The first hot topic we're going to talk about is going to be Xbox One's reversals. Obviously, you know, they've done their fair share of reversals since E3. They were doing DRM, you were going to have restrictions on online, not being able to share games, and they pretty much decided, with all the terrible PR that they were getting, that they're going to actually cancel that, completely do a 180, allow used games, no more online restrictions. The only thing you're going to have to do is actually going to be a day one update for the system, evidently. They haven't really specified whether or not that's going to be for allowing that kind of use for the used games and not online all the time, or if it's going to be some other kind of software update that they just really haven't talked about too much. Nothing that I've seen anyway. But the big thing right now is obviously that the indie developers now are going to be able to publish their own games without having to go through other publishers like EA or Activision, you know, those type of companies. So, you know, John, where do you kind of sit with this? Are the indie developers going to stick to their guns with the PS4 stating that's the system really for them? Or does this really change things for them?
Well, when the Xbox was announced, their first downfall was calling it the Xbox One. I think as soon as they came out with that was it. That was, I don't know. People are going to walk into the stores and be like, yes, I would like to purchase the Xbox One. They're going to be like, oh, the original Xbox. No, the Xbox One. Oh, so you want the first Xbox.
Yeah.
It is a stupid name. I'm gonna put
well,
that out there.
I kind of felt like, I was like, all right, nothing could be worse than the Wii U. Nothing could be worse than the Wii U. And then they said Xbox One. I was like, there it is. And now we have something worse than the Wii U.
And now they even cheat.
I would have taken Xbox Fusion. I would have taken Xbox Infinity. I understand the point of Xbox One, but I just think it was a worse title system.
Whatever happened to Xbox 720?
But who knows? They've changed everything else about it. Why not change the name before it comes out?
That's right.
Well,
So
they could just call it Xbox 180, since it did a 180.
They could do a 720 and go around, you know.
They might as well just go back to 360 because they spun it all the way around. They're basically
Xbox.
following in the footsteps of PlayStation 4 now. My opinion is they just aren't ready to release. They're not ready to release.
Xbox 3, the return.
Which we're going to talk about a little bit more in detail with the readiness. But as far as the indie developers go, you know, do you think that they kind of jump ship here?
I think they're backpedaling. They're on their heels.
But do you think that the indie devs will actually start shying away from the PS4 going to Xbox One, or do you think there's going to be more of, hey, we can do this game on the PS4, but now we could also do this on the Xbox One as well?
They're going to do it for both.
Yeah.
I guarantee they're going to do it for both. The one thing I can think of is that, well, indie game developers, for one, if they could get their hands on as many platforms as possible, they will. But, I mean, they have to, if they want to survive as an indie game developer, they have to go on multiple consoles. And that's including the PC.
Yeah, I mean, that brings up a good point, too. I mean, especially with any kind of developers nowadays. Most big gaming companies, they have to, you know, publish on both the Xbox and the PS3, which is why I think a lot of the Xbox's exclusives may or may not be exclusive for, you know, a year from now. Something like Titanfall, which is going to be probably a really strong following going into the Xbox One. It's getting a lot of great reviews. I don't see it because it's owned by EA, and EA has always had the history of their business, like any other gaming business, that wants to, you know, see profit for the time, the effort that they put into that game. So I don't see something like Titanfall really being exclusive 3 to 4 years down the line. Because, you know, it was the same with Mass Effect. Mass Effect 1 came out, Microsoft Studios had that one, EA bought it up, now you have 2, 3, and now all 3 games are on the PS3.
They're on they're on everything, even PC.
Especially with indie developers, unless PS4 locks down some exclusive rights to it for most of their games that they've been showing, and, you know, that's been a big part of the sell for PS4 and to the gaming community, is that, you know, you got these indie developers that are backing the system to get some great quality games. And I just think that, you know, if they don't lock up some of those exclusive titles, that could potentially hurt that message.
Well, you know, the real question really is, what was Xbox thinking originally? I mean, why didn't they go with this? First of all, it makes no sense to go the other way
and pretty much control all the content. It's just it's insane to even think about that.
Well, they did an interview with one indie developer, and he said he's going, at the time, this was before Xbox switched everything, pulled the 180. He was saying that he's sticking to PS4 just because Microsoft was pretty much telling him to, fuck you, a big fuck you to the indie developers. But now, who knows? I mean, Microsoft might be throwing some money around, and
well, that's what the thing is. I mean, if you look at some of the indie titles or smaller type games, you're looking at things. Chris, you know more about this than I would. With like Minecraft, I mean, I would consider that an indie game. It's not a full AAA game. You're spending $20 for the game itself, and then you have updates and stuff like that.
Well, yeah,
but they locked that down for. I guess it would be. I believe they locked it down for their first year. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it was the first year, and there's talks about potentially coming onto other systems. It's already out on the iOS. It's already out on PC, obviously. But games like that sell those millions and millions of copies are really what just kind of it keeps those people that are latched on to Xbox to keep going to Xbox because things like Minecraft have kept them there.
That's what they've been doing. They've been going after the AAAs and trying to get exclusives to it, and that's why you see Minecraft going towards the Xbox 360 and then the Xbox One.
You should also think too, looking at Minecraft, you're going to use that as an example. Minecraft is so much better on the PC because it started there.
Yeah.
And it's developed because the community on the PC has a bit more control of what's happening. Obviously, the updates, I can't remember what Minecraft is up to now as far as updates. I think it's ridiculous. It's far beyond what Xbox has. And the trouble is, the problem is, your PC could handle games like that a lot better than the hardware of your Xbox could.
Yeah.
Better than it would ever do. And the updates are so fast on the PC. Whereas on the Xbox, everything is updated through their system, so however long it takes,
So to answer the question,
so John, do you think the indie devs will move back to Xbox One and be kind of the middle ground now, or do you think a lot of the ones that have been outspoken about the PS4 are going to stick with the PS4?
I think probably go with the PS4. But like Chris was saying, they'll probably go multi-platform. I think that's pretty much how it's going to be. It depends how much Microsoft, wants them. Yeah. Because if they want them, they're going to get them. And
my money's on PlayStation 4. They're going to do both, but I think you're going to have more games developed on the PlayStation 4 than you would on
It
Xbox.
also comes down to the fact that PlayStation 4 came out saying this is a gaming system. Yeah. It's we're totally for indie gamers. They came out with all this stuff already, so it's going to come down to trust.
Yeah, I mean, there's been reports before about indie developers going to Microsoft, and that it's always been kind of like a corporate feeling when you go to Microsoft with a game or something like that. It's not as welcoming as Sony has become with the indie developers. I think bottom line is that if Sony sticks their ground to being open and welcoming to these kind of developers, that will eventually lead to other AAA games. You see it with Ready at Dawn doing the New Order game that's going to be coming out on PS4. They originally did handheld games. They did the 2 God of War handheld games, and now they're doing this giant AAA title because Sony, I guess, they wanted to give them the shot at making that big budget game.
Right.
So things like that, you start off with something small, and who knows what that can actually snowball into.
Right.
The only thing I see with Microsoft, and plus side to Microsoft and Xbox One, it seems to be, and I don't know if it's just because of the popularity of the system, and that's why it sells more copies of these games. If you're looking at Xbox's and Microsoft's exclusives list, like looking at Halo, or you're looking at Gears, you're looking at some of the so-called indie games, like if you consider Minecraft indie game, some of the online downloadable games. It seems that Microsoft has been able to keep quality over quantity, where Sony has tons of different exclusives, they have tons of different indie games, but it's really rare that you have like a hot selling PlayStation game. So like I said, I think Microsoft has always done a better job at doing quality over quantity, and Sony has had great games, hands down. They've had they have a lot more exclusives.
I think it comes down to the campaign. You look at what Xbox, how many people they bought basically, and you look at the indie. Xbox Live, for instance, a lot of indie gamers would develop for it, and it would actually show up on day one in the Xbox Live category for new. So it was easy advertising for it.
Yeah. It had millions of people to look at it as soon as it came out. Its exposure was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that made a lot of sense.
I mean, that's another thing, too. I mean, that, right now, anyway, with the way that Microsoft has their marketing set up with their system compared to Sony's system, with Xbox, as soon as you turn that system on, bam, you know what? You have this marketing setup of games that are coming out, different specials that are going on. It's right in your face as soon as you sign in and you have an internet connection. With PlayStation, if you don't go to like the what's new section in PlayStation, you may or may not see a lot of these indie games if you actually take the time. Or Xbox, as soon as you turn on the system, it's there, it's in your face, your curiosity kicks in, and then that's how I feel like they get that ball rolling with the sales and the interest of like things like Minecraft and other indie games.
Right. So basically, they're going to look at what system has the easiest exposure to their work.
And how much they're going to charge for that exposure.
Exactly.
Obviously.
Because wasn't there a $10,000
I thought, yeah, I mean, I heard
that
something.
Microsoft was charging
in order to
publish
it or whatever the case might have been. But moving on, I mean, like I said, the indie developers, at the end of the day, there's small companies that want to make as much as they can. I think that we all kind of agree that, most of these indie developers, they might have some exclusiveness for ps4 or Xbox One at one point, but eventually they'll probably be on multiple platforms because they're indie groups, or they're indie developers. They don't want to make their game for nothing. They want to get that exposure to as many people as they can.
No, you should see what indie gamers, they usually spend around 5 years
for one game.
For a make or break opportunity.
So I mean, I think that for them, it's good news for them. At the end of the day, for Xbox to do what they're doing, even though it seems like Microsoft is continuously not listening to what publishers want or what consumers want. At the end of the day, it's a win for the developers, and it's also a win for gamers on both systems.
Right.
Because you have that ability now to get more indie games if that's your thing. But kind of moving on. So next topic that we want to talk about is Xbox One's readiness. Kind of just to recap some of the previous news stories and kind of just some of the facts. I mean, Sony has gone on record as saying, they've been working on the system since 2007. We know who created it. You see the kind of work that they've been putting into it as far as their marketing and their public, the PR. And now it seems like some of the problems that we've seen, or some of the continuing bad PR that Microsoft's been getting, at E3, it was shown that Microsoft didn't actually have any of the Xbox One dev kits there. It was a Windows 7 based PC that were running these games.
Weren't they running at a higher rate anyway?
Supposedly, that's what it was stated in different articles, that they were actually going to have their higher end PCs running these games that weren't up to the specs of the Xbox One.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So
just to
curtain number one.
Yeah, I mean,
pay no attention to the
what is
graphics card behind the curtain.
that was already there.
The great Bill Gates has spoken.
So, Chris, what are your thoughts just with that alone? Like, what does that say to you as, say, a consumer if you're planning on buying the system? What does that say to you that by E3, and they're planning to have this out by November?
Yeah.
Do you have confidence that the system is ready to go, fully tested,
No.
gaming machine quality,
rock and roll?
The answer to that question is no. In fact, I'm going to say no for PlayStation 4 too. I'll be honest, I did not pre-order any one of the systems yet, on account of I am basically going to wait at least 3 to 4 weeks after the release date to see if any serious issues come up. I mean, obviously I'm going to be getting one or both of these consoles in the future, leaning towards PlayStation 4 than Xbox. But the reality is, if you have games that are not being played on your system at E3, I mean, what are you doing? You're not presenting a product, you're presenting a farce.
It's an idea.
It's just like...
By the way, this might be sort of kind of what it may be able to sort of do.
And the biggest thing I thought was kind of funny with this was that Major Nelson, after PS4 was announced, they said, "Oh, what a way to announce a system. You announce the system without actually showing the box." And I'm like, On the other hand, you could show the box and then not actually have the systems to use at something like E3. So you show the box, but does the box work? We don't know. It's just a PC for all we know.
It's a beautiful shell.
This is filled with sand.
It's got magic in it.
And the other thing too is, are the Xbox Ones and the PlayStation 4s that are currently being demonstrated, are they stable now?
I mean, supposedly at E3, the PS4s were confirmed to be like the actual dev kits. They were dev kits of the PS4s. And the PS4 dev kit pictures were released like way even before the announcement. Everything was leaked pretty much in the dev kits. Like how the controller looked. I mean, it looks a little bit different, obviously, than the dev kit does now. The specs and everything were actually kind of right on. But the thing with the system is that if you don't even have the dev kits ready at the system, and a red flag went up to me too because, Diablo 3, it's supposed to be coming to consoles. It's coming to PS3 and Xbox 360 in September.
That's a Blizzard game.
Yeah,
that's been previously on PC up until now, right?
And the thing is that the reason why it's not going to be a PS4 launch title is because Blizzard just got the PS4 dev kits recently. I guess I don't know what the business communication was with that. It seems that they wanted to get the PS3 version out before the PS4 version, and the Xbox 360 obviously is going to have their own version. But there's no talks about the Xbox One having a version yet.
Same thing with Grand Theft Auto 5. They're saying there might be a next gen.
See, everything I heard. I thought they said they were not doing a next gen, unless they decide.
Well, it goes the same thing with Diablo 3.
Because from my understanding, like it's so much harder to upscale a game after it's been developed for recent gens instead of next gen. So it would be like, supposedly, from my understanding of it, is that it would be like another entire project to try and get something like Grand Theft Auto upscaled to. It would be breaking down code again and everything else like that to try and make it onto the Xbox One and the PS4.
Well, I'm looking at it as a business perspective where
it's too expensive, I think.
You announce this game for current gen, but then you announce the next gen when so close to the new systems coming out.
Well, this happens all the time, though. Every time a new system comes out, they have titles that cross over.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They want to sell as many as they can on the Xbox 360 and PS3 before they even announce a PS4 and Xbox One because they want those consoles to get sold.
I mean, honestly, I think that like Grand Theft Auto, if they had a PS4 version and Xbox One ready version, they would both be sold. They would both be at launch for the new systems. They would be at launch for their current date for these systems. Because at the end of the day, it's just more copies that they can sell.
Right.
I don't know if Rockstar didn't get the dev kits enough time, or it's just that they were probably so far through development with Grand Theft Auto that they just said, you know what, we're not going to worry about next gen. Let's do this now. And that game alone could potentially hurt the next generation systems being sold. Because Grand Theft Auto is a huge game.
It looks like every game
there's a stock market. There's a stock market in the game. Why, I don't know, but there's a stock market in the game. It's so expansive, it's so big, it's so huge that people probably aren't going to want to move on to the next console because they're going to be busy playing games like Grand Theft Auto for the next 6 months, depending on how big this game could potentially be.
Well, you're not hurting. I don't think you're going to hurt the next gen systems per se. I think it's going to be like, we're going to buy Grand Theft Auto for our system we currently have. It's a $65 purchase or whatever it is. And then at the time when the new console comes out, they'll be like, all right, I'm going to buy the new console.
The Grand Theft Auto Ultimate Edition.
No. Not even that. They're going to find the game.
With the real car.
They're going to find the game on the new systems that they want to play, and that's what's going to drive that business. It's not hurting the business. It's just going to delay their purchase probably a week, unless they already have it pre-ordered.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, I'm already getting the new system. I got the game pre-ordered for my old system. It makes no difference to me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Now, getting back on topic, we were discussing, with the dev kits at E3. PS4 had the dev kits at E3, and supposed Xboxes were actually PCs running higher specs. Running their games.
So are they ready to ship?
That's exactly what it is. It's was PlayStation coming out of the gate in February saying that this is our new system, this is what it's going to be, these are the games that we have. Did that force their hand? And that's what it really, really seems like. Because you're looking at things where like the PS4 is now, the FCC had the console to show, it pretty much, they check to make sure that they check the power usage, the weight of it and stuff like that.
The temperature running.
The temperature running and stuff like that, what it could range from. So it seems like they're close to the steps of being like, all right, we're ready to sell this console, and I'm just not hearing anything about that from Xbox.
Well, Xbox keeps changing everything.
And that could eventually, that could be eventually a huge problem. But, just like...
They're just going to call it the PS box soon.
I like it. But to kind of add fuel to the fire here of this idea of the Xbox One really being ready, a website actually reported, GamesThirst.com reported that the Xbox One suffered some system malfunctions at Comic-Con numerous times. There wasn't really too much info about like what kind of malfunction it was.
Systems came alive and
Skynet.
killed the first person.
But evidently,
Skynet.
But evidently, Microsoft had to shut down the Xbox One systems a couple times during Comic-Con. The different reps told different news sources about these shutdowns, and now there's talk about, are we looking at the Red Ring of Death, or are they going to try to ship these out
Red Ring
too
of Death.
fast?
This time it's for real.
Yeah, like what could it potentially mean for Microsoft if they go through another Red Ring of Death? I mean, like I said, they have had the absolute worst PR cloud above their head for such a long time that I worry that they do, ship these systems out in November, and then there's a problem with them, and then we're looking at another Red Ring of Death kind of a situation. If that happens again, I don't know if the Xbox, not Microsoft, if the Xbox would really survive something like that again, because people now that have had the 360, they've bought, this is like their second, third, fourth 360. So, for the consumers, is it going to be one of those things like, if this thing breaks or has a malfunction, are they going to really allow themselves to go and pay another $500 to get these systems fixed? So again, I just want to kind of recap that with the idea that the PC is ready, 3. And now we have supposedly Xbox One systems at Comic-Con that were malfunctioning. The news article also kind of goes into saying, but the interesting point here is now news about the console crashing numerous times at E3 has been unearthed by Palab Chatterjee of Media and Entertainment Technologies. According to Palab, during numerous attempted meetings at E3, the system crashed repeatedly, thus explaining why the one-on-one meetings were ended. Palab also revealed to SKNR that they had 6 to 7 attempts at meetings, and each time the hardware was unable to be stable enough to complete the demonstrations, and that the issue seems to remain at Comic-Con.
Were they actually running the Xboxes, or were they running Windows 7 or 8?
That's the thing. I mean, the way that this article is set up, or the way that the article is stating, is that it's Xbox One system. So I'm assuming
the retail
that it could be. I don't know if it's a retail version or it's a dev kit version. Regardless, the main issue is that evidently, it wasn't only at Comic-Con, but at E3, I guess when they had their closed sessions, these systems were still malfunctioning. And now that I look back to the live stream, they had a problem with when Battlefield 3 came up at E3. There was a period of time where they were having technical difficulties. So I guess the question is, Chris, knowing this kind of issue here, would you be ready to buy an Xbox One at launch? You already said no. If you were any of the other consumers, full-fledged, really, really excited for the Xbox One, would you go and shell out that $500 knowing?
Well, here's the trouble. I mean, the consumer, has already bought into the hype. So if you're a gamer that's gonna love the first-person shooter, or if you're the gamer that does the one game, I guess, like say Call of Duty. If you're that guy, and you play Call of Duty day and night, and that's all you play, and you got the Xbox 360, you're going to pre-order the next gen so that you can play next gen first-person shooters. The trouble is, they don't look at the spec. They don't give a crap. They look at the game. They go, dude, I want that game. And you know what? Technically, I could say this with accuracy, they don't give a shit about the console at all. They just want to play that game. My opinion is, if the technology can't back itself up for $500, the damn thing better work out of the box. I better not have a heatsink issue. I better not have a disk drive issue. I better not have a memory failure. I better not have the damn thing burn down my house and kill my family issue. You know, I need
Kinect turns into laser
I don't
beams.
need Skynet spying on me.
Who knows? I was just gonna say, with the NSA news, if you're on their hit list, they might just burn your house down.
Yes, well,
It wasn't that a thing too?
they could peer through the Kinect and stare at you while you're staring.
Yeah, I mean,
They're downloading your house layout.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen anything that really disclosed the full details of the whole NSA thing. Like I said, it's just been a really bad PR nightmare with Microsoft. But I just know that there was talks, but it's not just Microsoft.
PlayStation, PSI optional, snooping optional.
Snooping optional. But I mean, I know that Microsoft and I think it was Yahoo and Facebook and some of these other social media outlets have evidently, they have to cooperate with the NSA, which I mean, it's a government run program. It's something that they kind of have to comply with. I understand that, but the thing is, obviously, the concern is that the Xbox One comes standard with the new Kinect, and you can't do anything about that. You have to have the Kinect with it. But they have said that Xbox has shared encrypted data files, messages, video with the NSA. To cooperate with investigations or whatever the case may be.
Because when you're playing Call of Duty, you never swear or threaten anybody.
You are a criminal after all. The one thing I have to point out about that too is there is a very strict privacy contract with that, and they are you basically, I know right now the new Xbox systems are requiring you to. Or giving you the option, I should say, of shutting off a few of those things, like you could put the camera to sleep, or you don't, you could turn all these things off.
They've kind of.
Did you line your Xbox to watch you while you're sleeping?
They've kind of tried to hush those concerns with it.
Right, and I think those are mostly rumor-driven concerns. Those aren't really legitimate concerns.
The only thing I've ever thought of was something like that. And, it could be with PlayStation, it could be with Xbox, whatever has a camera, a laptop with a camera. Usually anything that you download, anything that you buy, you always have terms and agreement. And does anybody actually ever read those terms of agreement before you're like, no, shit, I want to go and play Halo. I don't got time for this. I'm just going to accept this and go on with the download and get going with it. I don't care what it says. I don't care if it says you can come in and, take everything in my house. It's just a matter of, hey, I got to go play this game right now. I don't have time to read your shit. I'm just gonna accept it and go on. So the thing is you don't know what you're accepting.
It's a
you don't have time to read it.
400-page
That's what I'm saying.
legally.
You're scrolling down and you're sitting there at the screen with your tongue out, waiting to get down to the bottom. And by the time you're at the bottom, you're like, you don't care anything about what they say.
So play the goddamn game. Download this game. I'll play it right now. I ain't reading this bullshit.
Yeah, terms of use and things like that. It's silly, but. Yeah, I don't know anybody who actually reads that.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's the only thing.
If you're somebody to your house.
If you're somebody who does read it, good
for you.
and if you wouldn't,
God bless you, sir.
That person never plays games. He just sits there in his room with conspiracies going on.
He's just a Netflix guy.
He's the Netflix guy.
Just
keeps it simple.
Just put a summary down for us so the rest of us can just.
You agree that if you do some shit, we're allowed to do some shit, and you pay for the shit, and you're going to play the game, we're going to beat the game, and if we come and kill your dog, you agreed to the shit.
Exactly.
Have fun.
And there's a guy in a suit knocking on your door. Obviously, I don't want to get into conspiracy theories or anything like that, but I'm just saying, if for some reason they wanted to change something about that, it would probably be in, the terms of agreement. And like I said, it's not just Xbox, it could be for PlayStation, whatever the case is. Anything that's hooked up to the camera, you always have the potential that the government is watching you for whatever reason. I mean, don't be stupid and make all these crazy, threats to, government, whatever else. Don't give them a reason to watch you.
Don't hide the bodies in front of your TV no more.
But that's the other thing too. I mean, they said that with the NSA, it was more or less, people of concern, I guess you could say. Quote unquote concern. They were on a watch list type of a deal, and obviously there was a reason for them being on the watch list. The other side of that is that if government can get files, can somebody hack your Xbox One and watch you for whatever odd reason? I mean, I'm not a hacker.
You're gonna have all the geeky guys.
But that's what I'm saying.
Sitting at the other end,
It's going to be like a hot girl party. You're going to be able. There's somebody's going to hack a system. And it's going to be like a hot girl party playing Just Dance, and it's going to meet get on YouTube somehow, and then that's going to be another giant conspiracy and a problem. So, yeah. So getting back on point, is the Xbox One ready to be launched? At this point, I would say no, and just because of the recent articles. Day one, I would not buy an Xbox One just because of some of these stories that have broke out. I just don't think that they're ready. I don't know if they're pushing it, just because they want to be out the same year as the PS4 does to keep their ground as it was, to be somewhat of a more dominant system. The Xbox, especially here, I feel is more dominant than the PlayStation 3. But if they were going to launch a year after, that would be a year they would have to make up. So in my mind, it's
PS3 has had a hard time with that.
Yeah, but they learned. I feel like they've learned from their mistakes. Everything that they've done so far, I feel like they know what they're doing.
Right.
We've seen the systems. They have the dev kits working. The other thing to consider too is with this is that I always look at Microsoft as a software company. So I always see some of their online features obviously working better, different programs and apps working better, and I think that sometimes with PlayStation is flawed. And then I look at PlayStation, I look at Sony, and they're a hardware company. They've been making consoles an extra generation than Microsoft has. So it's going to be curious to see. We're not going to really know anything until they actually launch. But I mean, to anybody that's actually listening to this, I would just, buy with caution. I would always recommend, if you are going to buy it, I just wouldn't open it right away. Give it a few days, see
keep
if
the
there's any
warranty.
kind of problems.
Don't
Yeah,
throw it away. Keep your box. Keep everything.
Because who knows what kind of problems it could be, and that could be with, like I said, with the PS4 or the Xbox One. But just, tread softly with that. Usually there's always something. So hopefully they work this out, and hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully Xbox is ready to go, and they've done their planning, and the system's good. It's been tested. There's not going to be any problems with it, because I don't think that, like I said, Microsoft will survive. I don't know if Xbox will survive another Red Ring of Death. They might if people want to be mossed to a fire,
right.
Go and buy more Xboxes. But yeah. All right. So moving on, the last topic of the night, kinda, at least to the hot topics that we're talking about right now. John, do you feel with all the reversals and Xbox One and PS4 becoming more and more like each other, do you feel that the PS4 is still a contender for the top system spot as far as consumers or customers buying the PS4 or the Xbox One? Do you think the PS4 is going to be the dominant system in this generation in the U.S.? I mean, in Japan, pretty much Xbox, I don't want to say got kicked out, but there's no more Xbox Live in Japan. There wasn't a lot of support for it. Do you feel that the PS4 is still going to be a contender for the top spot in the U.S.? And if that's the case, what points do you think is going to make that possible?
Well, I think right now, of all the negative PR that Xbox got, I think that gave a huge boost to Sony and the PS4. In the long run, I'm just going to say this. I think a majority of people are going to have both systems. I think that's what it's just going to go down to.
2-3 years down the line, after different holidays come up and stuff like that, they're going to be like, oh, what do I want to get? And I don't have the Xbox.
Then one game's going to come out and be like, oh, well, I can get this. I can afford that. I'll have this year, that this year.
Yeah.
Price-wise, PS4 is still cheaper. It doesn't come with the PSI, but that's an optional thing.
Yeah, it's only $60 instead of another $100.
Right.
Which would be for the Kinect with the Xbox One, which is obviously why that price point is so high, is because the Kinect comes with it.
Right. Right now, supposedly, unless Microsoft or Xbox with the cloud system changes it somehow, but the PS4 seems to be the more powerful.
Yeah,
system.
that's the thing that's really in question, and I've seen different stories about. Mostly every story I've tried to find, everything that's come out about the specs that I've seen anyway, going to the different gaming sites and the different computer technology sites that I've looked at. It seems that the PS4 is more powerful, and it seems that Microsoft is kind of aware of that and is kind of boasting this ability to utilize the cloud to make up for any kind of weakness that the Xbox One has. So the question becomes, is that just Microsoft just buttering up to the gaming community, or is that...
oh yeah, by the way, we can do that. There's no problem. We got that covered.
Exactly. And the thing was too is that Microsoft knew what the specs were going into their announcement.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm assuming they would have been like, oh, no, we got to fix that. We're just going to do it. We're going to get this new cloud technology. They're going to be putting a ton of money into the cloud with all the stuff that we're doing. I'm sure it's going to be able to, you know,
by the way,
make graphics better and make water look, you know, like water. You know, it's crazy
Water
stupid
looks
stuff like that. Like,
better water.
like Call of Duty 25 is going to be amazing because all the cloud computing that it could do with AI and stuff like that.
Play the exact same.
It's just, it just concerns me. I'm
Yes.
worried. But, you know, do you think, like, what, and maybe I should kind of make this a little bit more, not as expansive as overall, this holiday, if you're looking, if you're looking at, and Chris, feel free to chime in with this one, if you're looking at, you know, July, like, say, all right, so we're in July now, this time next year, do you see the PS4 being at the top of as far as sales go, or do you think it's going to be a steady race? Do you think PS4 is going to drop off now that Xbox One's changed everything? Where do you see the PS4 being at this point in July, as far as, you know, number of units sold and popularity?
Right now, I would say PS4 just because of Microsoft's bad PR, but you're going to look at the games, basically, that are to come out within those months. Because with PS4...
You're talking exclusives.
Exclusives.
And like I said, the thing with the exclusives is just a matter of Sony owns most of their studios.
Right.
A lot of the exclusives that Microsoft is doing, you know, EA's helping out with. Like I said, Titanfall is an EA thing.
Mm-hmm.
Will those exclusives stick by this time next year? Well, I mean, I'm sure like after they launch, I don't really think Titanfall has released it yet. But are those exclusives really going to be exclusive for the long haul?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to see like Titanfall 2 only on the Xbox One? Are we going to see Titanfall 3 only on the Xbox One? Or does it come down to features? You know, Chris, do you think that, you know, the different features of the Xbox One and the different features of the PS4 are going to be a selling factor?
Yeah, I think
What do you think sets them apart?
I think the PlayStation 4 is a better built system, based off the specs of what we know now. It looks like a better system. So, you know, naturally, I want to lean towards the better hardware. I think it's going to run a lot smoother than the Xbox One. The other hand is, I feel like Xbox and Microsoft, they kind of force that Kinect right down my throat.
Now, do you think that's going to be a smart decision? I mean, obviously there's talks about the idea that, you know, Kinect being integrated with the Xbox One, that developers know that every household has a Kinect if they have an Xbox One, and they can kind of develop around that technology.
Well, I mean, that's part of it. Like, if you're looking at Xbox or Microsoft as a whole,
It's a smart move by them, but the problem is of how damn expensive they made it for everybody. The trouble is what's going to put, now it basically comes down to numbers here, what's going to put Microsoft behind PlayStation is basically the price. You're looking at $100 difference.
Mm-hmm.
And if I went and bought the camera for the PlayStation, I'm still going to be $40 better.
Yeah.
And I'm going to save some money. That extra money is going to go towards another controller, some games, accessories. When I go and get my PlayStation 4, I'm going to get the whole package. I'm going to get controllers. I'm going to get, you know, the hardware. I'm going to get the games. I'm going to get everything that I can get my hands on, and I'm going to spend less money doing it, you know? For how many exclusives that are coming out for each system, I have to say, in my opinion, I'm not really attracted to any of the exclusives that are going to be available at launch.
Yeah.
So
I mean, for me and for I think a lot of consumers is, you know, Xbox, they have Dead Rising, they have Rise, which could be good, or I feel like from what I've seen of it, it could be very repetitive.
I feel like it's a repetitive hack and slash.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I kind of got God of War. like, me and Kratos kind of have, you know, this relationship now that I feel like I can't really stray from. Where Rise is like, you know, it's going to be something similar. You're going to have the different Connect features and stuff like that, but I don't think that's a system seller. I don't look at that and say, I need to have that game day one with my Xbox One. And I don't think I can say that about any of the real exclusives for PS4 either. You know, Infamous it has a following, Killzone has a following, and then for PS4, and you know, you have the new game Knack, which is going to be kind of cool. I'm sure it's going to get a decent following. But for launch lineup, I feel like for as far as like fans of the different systems, people are excited about the Infamous game. They're excited. They're
yeah,
excited about Killzone.
I don't think
because they know those games. It's something that they're aware of. They're not trying these new IPs to try out.
I think Knack. You said Knack.
Knack, yeah.
That hasn't really gotten too much positive feedback.
I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I look at Knack and I'm not like expecting like, oh my god, it's going to be better than Last of Us because there's this guy with all these little weird parts that make him
keeps
big,
growing,
and he gets big and small. And it's going to be awesome. It's like Mario without the mushrooms.
Mario
Go
off the
smack it
shrooms.
Yeah, we like Mario on shrooms. He's a happier dude.
I don't know. That's another podcast episode.
Yes, we'll get,
you know,
we'll get,
yeah.
we'll get
Mario.
to
knock out. Just talk about Mario and his
Mario
drug
on
addiction.
shrooms. Yeah.
Yes, Mario and his drug addiction.
Is he really a plumber?
Who knows? I don't think he's worked a day in his life.
I don't think so either.
More important question is.
I think Mario in real life is just a bum in a gutter somewhere, sitting there.
No, I like to think of the 1980 TV show with him. But that the fat guy that's on there, the brothers.
But yes, no,
So you think that PS4 will probably
in this economy,
catch ahead for right now?
I'm gonna say yeah.
I mean, as soon as you get out the fact that you gotta look at the parents too, because the kids are gonna want what the kids want, whatever.
Well, here's the thing about the kids. When I'm in like different stores and stuff like that, and I see kids like asking about the Xbox One, I was like, I don't want to play with you. Like, I'm not going to get the Xbox One just because I don't want to play with kids.
Well, that's
and a lot of the time, it's like, you know, they want obviously the kids now, that's all they've had. They've had Xbox.
They have
Xbox.
You know what I mean?
You just touched on pretty much the root of the situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the root of the situation.
Is the communities of Xbox and PlayStation are so different. I'm gonna go out on a limb.
You want to know what? I'm going to make this the next episode, too. We're going to talk about the communities of Xbox and
All right,
PlayStation.
then I'll save
I'm writing it into my laptop right now so we can talk about it
I'll
next
save
week.
it for next time.
Okay.
And we'll have the folks who are listening that put their 2 cents, if you will, on that one. And I'd like to hear what people have to say.
But I mean, it's funny. Like I feel like, you know, you see like nothing against kids that play and stuff like that, but like, you know, that's why like I kind of steer away from multiplayer games because like I know I get on there and there's this little 12-year-old that's all he does is just play this game, and then there I am like halfway between throwing my controller and just breaking it in half because
That's the thing.
I just get my ass
See, that
kicked.
brings you back to the
Just
Connect,
kicked.
though. They're gonna see all the
And I know
everyone's
it's
gonna
just
see is the people being yelling and swearing at their TV, threatening the people. Everyone's gonna get arrested. It's gonna be anarchy. The SWAT team's coming through the door.
I'm not too worried about that. What I will say is back to the root question is on top PlayStation 4 by next July. With Microsoft trailing probably only by a few thousand sales.
Do you think that like percentage wise, do you think it's going to be like, you know, you're going to see 45% Xbox, 55% PS4, or do you think it's going to be a wider margin?
Well, you're not going to see any pie charts that look like Pac-Man open and wide up here. You're going to see.
Sure you are. I'm going to make it.
You're going to see. you're going to see the small margins, in my opinion, because the gamers. We touched on it before. The gamers are going to buy for the games, of course, but they're also going to be like everybody else who is a gamer and who's casual or professional. It doesn't matter. Yeah, eventually you will own both systems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think the biggest.
I hate having 2 systems. I'm just going to go out there on a limb. I hate owning multiple systems because it's just like such a choice. Especially like, you know, you got Far Cry 3. Like, do I play it on my PlayStation? Do I play it on my Xbox?
Well, that's
you know,
the thing.
like,
I mean, last
I hate
generation.
it. I don't want that choice. I have enough choices to do in my day.
This generation, you had DVD versus Blu-ray.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's actually.
And then party chat or cross-game chat versus non.
Yeah, which doesn't matter anymore because both systems are going to have it.
Yeah. Exactly. So now it's just
and both systems have Blu-ray.
They're so similar, and Microsoft seems to be able to change their mind. If PS4 comes out with something crazy, they're gonna be like, oh, we got that too. It's in the garage.
So yeah, I mean, I really think it just comes down to it. At the end of the day, with the different features and stuff like that, it's looking more and more. Just to kind of wrap up here, it's looking more and more like both systems are going to be very, very similar by the time that the systems hit. And I think, and a lot of people think, the gaming community really believe that, you know, for both PS4 and Xbox, that it's probably going to be something either 50-50, you know, maybe 2-3 years from now as far as how many systems have been sold, or something closer to like, you know, 49-51 percentage difference. You know, it's going to seriously come down to the games. And as soon as Microsoft hits everybody with the next Halo, I think that's when you're going to see a bigger jump.
That's good. See, they're going to be Halo 5 Xbox One Edition.
Yeah.
It's going to be $100 less.
It's going to be all tricked out with Halo on it.
And it's a marketing thing, honestly. It comes right down to marketing. So, they'll sell it. They always do.
Yeah.
But like I said before, wrap it up. It's PlayStation over Xbox, but not by a very large margin.
All right. So to wrap up this episode, Chris, you have a game you want to talk about that you have been somewhat entertained by, I believe?
The indie game of the week.
Oh, there's indie games of the week?
Indie game of the week.
You realize that if you say one indie game of the week, now every time we do a podcast, you're going to have to do an indie game, right?
Well, don't worry about it. I'll try to find something.
You're going to be doing a lot. You're going to
I have a
you're
real...
gonna have to
job
dig deep.
also.
You're gonna have to go like Newgrounds and find like an indie game or something, probably.
Well, actually, I'm signed up with Steam, and it's sick. All right, let me call it the indie game that I'm interested currently.
Okay, so no indie game of the week. Let's just go with the title of fun games that we happen to be playing at the time of this podcast. That's a long acronym.
Games all the cool kids are playing.
What's the acronym for that? Fun games. John, that's your job next time. I want you to find out what the acronym of what I just said was, okay?
Make me do shit.
Yeah, shit, man.
Well, I know people are hanging on the edge of their seat. Basically, it's called... Did you edit like a drum roll or something to that?
Not anymore.
Oh, damn it. It's called the Kerbal Space Program.
Kerbal? What is that, Chris?
It's a game pretty much you build a rocket or an aerospace plane, and you basically run your own space program. It's pretty much based off of what NASA does, except a lot.
So is it like Roller Coaster Tycoon, but just with the
space
man?
Actually,
rocket?
I think I've only played that game once.
Can you be Tom Hanks?
Actually, you could probably find.
All right, so like, how does the game work? What are some of the mechanics of it? Like, what's the gameplay like? Is it similar to like, RTS? Is it something similar to like SimCity where you build up, make money?
It's more like I would go towards simulation.
Okay.
Like a flight simulator.
All right.
The difference is instead of like picking from like a list of things that you can fly, which you can, they have presets and stuff. You actually build the spacecraft or aircraft that you design at their different facilities, and you can actually put something in orbit. They actually have a wiki it's on the internet, and it basically breaks down everything in real aerospace physics. So you're
that sounds absolutely
educational,
like a math class that I don't want to take.
No, the trouble is if you're into like building stuff and flying it, if I was never into simulations like this, but I mean it was cool, and I got addicted to it because I ended up building these rockets and shit and getting it into space and stuff.
Is this like the old school Top Gun though? Like when you're flying, it's like up down, you crash because you can't land on the damn hangar.
No, well I mean you could.
There's a hangar. I just crashed.
I never got to the hangar. They just wanted me to land, so I crashed. I crashed hard.
So I mean,
I did it awesomely and epically, but I crashed.
There you go.
The game is
called
sick.
Fall.
Okay. And where can you get the game, Chris?
If you're on Steam, you can get it through them, or if you go to their webpage, you can also go and get it through them as well. The developer. One second.
So is there a character named Kerbal? Or
no, that's the name of the planet.
Oh, it sounded like a hick name for Kirby.
Yeah. No,
like a southern cousin.
It was you typing into your Samsung Galaxy Kirby and then Kerbal spitting out because the autocorrect. That's what that sounds like to me.
That was
no, you could get it on Steam for sure. They had it on sale when I picked it up, and that's I was drawn to it because it was on sale. So I was like, all right, this is a cool game. But it was actually my brother-in-law who got me hooked on it because he was playing. We went to a LAN party. We were playing a bunch of the games like Killing Floor, Borderlands 2, Left 4 Dead 2. We were doing all that stuff. And we were also playing Minecraft.
Of course, Minecraft.
Uh-huh.
Life just wouldn't be the same without Minecraft.
And then...
actually, life would probably be better without Minecraft. There's nobody ever discovered that game.
Did
But
you notice? You can do everything in Minecraft in real life with real things outside.
Don't be hating on Minecraft.
Chris, I'm gonna get you a pick so you can go outside and actually pick away at rocks. And
Find
see how
me
much
gold,
fun it
boy.
is.
Yeah, John would love that. He'd put holes in his yard. But yeah,
All right. So one more time, what's the name of the game?
it's called Kerbal, and it's a really nice game. If you guys want to look it up, download it right to your PC.
So
It's a PC.
check it out.
Yeah, it's a PC only right now. I think because it's in its.
There's a
infancy.
demo.
There is a demo.
There is a demo.
It has been confirmed that
So-
there is a demo on Steam.
So if you guys want to,
KerbalSpaceProgram.com.
Something different to
That's
try
it.
out.
yeah.
So that would be the end of this podcast, Time to Game podcast. This would be the episode of July 24th, 2013. The initial episode 1. So, like I said, guys, if you want to leave some comments down in the comments section, please feel free to do so. Other than that, we're going to keep doing this because we love gaming, obviously. And,
Wait, we're talking about games?
yeah, we're talking about games this whole time.
What?
I'm pretty sure
And
this.
the gaming industry.
You should just call this
No.
the war of the consoles. That's what this.
That's what this is until the console's actually launched, and then it's going to be about games again. But for right now, it's Sony versus Microsoft, and we're going to be complaining and talking about it until
And
they
hopefully
actually launch
Microsoft doesn't go full retard.
it. I don't know what they've done.
Full retard.
You just- you
Never
know,
go full
you know,
retard.
full retard. A little bit of
Maybe,
Tropic Thunder.
maybe we'll talk about Nintendo too. I don't know.
Yeah, we can talk about Nintendo another time. Nintendo's good. You know, you got Smash Bros. And some other games that,
Well, there's
you know,
new
since-
Super-
Mario Party 8 or 12. Or...
Yeah, Mario Party. I mean,
When
that's a
is it
good
going to
game.
be Mario Hangover? How many parties does this guy go to?
Mario Hangover. It sounds like an iOS game. Get on that, John.
I'm
Make
on
that
it.
happen. All right.
Make it happen.
All right, guys. Well, this is us signing off. This is CJ.
This is Johnny B.
We got
Old Chris.
Old Chris.
And old Chris.
Old Chris, like a spice.
And check in next time for episode 2. Take care, guys.